them from they calling me. No MC can get a role like me. They have an any identity, trying to be more than one entity. And I feel it's time for us to shine. Third eye vision sees clear, not blind. Voodoo verses pouring out and hypnotic folks spitting out. Voodoo verses pouring out and hypnotic folks spitting out. See, I hear them from they calling me. No MC can get a role like me. They have an any identity, trying to be more than one entity. And I feel it's time for us to shine. Third eye vision sees clear, not blind. Voodoo verses pouring out and hypnotic folks spitting out the mouth. And insane rain makes me not complain. Restrain yourself from going against the grain. Pass me an L and I'll maintain. Blaze it up, raise it up.
Check it, we at war with criminals in the peace. Drama never cease cause everybody likes a piece. The brown rainbow will never cease. So my homies are released from the belly of the beast. I'm going first blood, my mind is all about crime and cream. Back and heat, extra clips, infrared beams. It seems you think the rainbow can't flow without the black polo. That's a no-no, I walk from Lebanon and there to get shot. I stay strapped like the walls of my rack cause I ain't having that. Born raised in the ghetto, all I see is crime. Police brutality, old heads doing time. Reality is what sells in this rap industry. What's going on in your age?
I feel it's time for us to shine. Third eye vision sees clear, not blind. Voodoo verses pouring out and hypnotic folks spitting out the mouth. See, I feel it's time for us to shine. Third eye vision sees clear, not blind. Voodoo verses pouring out and hypnotic folks spitting out the mouth.
I be around real players, old neighbors that hate us, cause we trying to get gators. When I'm bad, seeing us later, not from Oakland, but we got the Raiders. Cops and dogs try to take us, but all they do is make us work like the Lakers. They catch the papers from my cylinder landscaper. If they chase us, I make sure my name be in the papers like extra. Capers got a lot with them. 2 bricks for making a system, drinking and smoking this. Push rock like the jism. From dusk to dawn, pump blunts until they go on task force. We bring it on. They keep it real. Some homies out here, they make me wanna kill. Get the math back to still, so with my hey, yo, I'm top notch, and I'm down with butterscotch. My hip hop rocks, you not like my clip off jukebox. We shot up drug spots. I roll with twin Glocks. Take props and drags against body dreadlocks. We deadly venom. Yo, surrender or retreat. I bitch against like Cunningham. Then I stalk like Rodney P. To fill the acne of defeat, I'm the black polo. Won't be beat. I'm on the street like an elite. Them wannabes don't get dealt with ease. Freeze like 16 degrees. Timber like falling trees. I die for my brothers. It's likewise for me. Raise it up, raise it up.
See, I feel it's time for us to shine. Third eye vision sees clear, not blind. Voodoo verses pouring out and hypnotic folks spitting out the mouth. See, I feel it's time for us to shine. Third eye vision sees clear, not blind. Voodoo verses pouring out and hypnotic folks spitting out the mouth. Blaze it up, raise it up, blaze it up, raise it up, blaze it up, raise it up, blaze it up, raise it up.
Peace, 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 peace to the family. Damn, we ain't even start yet. We got the trolls up in this joint already. We ain't even get started yet. They come up in this joint. And y'all, you know what's funny about some of y'all? Some of y'all, like, y'all don't like FBA. I don't even understand why y'all even bother to even come over here and comment. Like, you know, I don't be in none of y'all spaces arguing with y'all, telling y'all you wrong, nothing. I don't even know why y'all even bother to come over and troll. Like, you know, the thing is, the internet is free. The internet is free, and on the internet, like, you know, you can be whatever you want to be in all the space you want to be. Why y'all feel the need to come over here? Like you want to come over here and right. You want to come over here and bother us. But the thing is, when you come over here and bother us, you make our point even more on the arguments that we actually bring to the table. You actually make the point stronger. What's going on, Sugar Love? Allow some people to come in. That was an old song I was playing from back in the day. A group from my city, Task Force, years back. when you know, a lot of New Yorkers said Philly ain't had no flow when we was killing the game. I mean, you know, but they were shutting us out. But yeah, that was an old joint. That when I was starting, I was looking for my information, and that song popped up, came across the desk. So I said, you know what, let me put that on there, give the people enough time to come up in the room. But I wanna go over something today. I want to show. Wait a minute. Still a lot of people to come up in the room. I want to show today what some of the elders were saying years back, between the NAACP and the black movements, but then Phillip Randolph. I also want to go over this Coon and Sambo thing. The Coon, the Sambo, and because a lot of these terms is used out of term. You know, years ago we was doing these live streams, but we wasn't getting a lot of people in the room, and people wasn't, a lot of people wasn't interested. They was distracted by so much stuff that was going on outside, and nobody cared. So when we get into this Deante Cow thing, and oh damn, you know what? I didn't even do what I was supposed to. Wait a minute. Damn, you just reminded me. I'm running around. Oh yeah, I gotta put this. Wait a minute. I gotta put this together real quick. I forgot, because this is important, because we gotta break this down. We definitely gotta break this down. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Make sure we get this right. Yeah, people coming up. I gotta put make sure I get this together. Make sure I get this up on the channel, because we want to break down this Deante Cow situation. We also want to I got some of Tariq responded to Deante Cow. But I did the live stream the other day on this Deante Cow. But what I want to do today is do some reading for you guys. I want to bring out what Phillip Randolph said, and how he wasn't like really at odds with the NAACP, but they didn't agree. He was a restrictionist, right? He wasn't really with a lot of the immigrants coming over, because they were undermining things that we had going on back in the 30s and the 20s, right? And the Porters was trying to bring them in for cheaper labor. And, Phillip Randolph was saying, listen, man, y'all come here, man, you come here, you big-headed, like you don't want to become American citizens. And he was advocating for only American citizens to get jobs, right? And because they was diametrically opposed to what we was fighting for. So we want to pull out the receipts and show what our grandparents was going through back then, in the argument and the struggle. Then I want to get into this, where you have these sellouts and why these sellouts occur, right? So so that way we can bolster our arguments and make our arguments stronger, because I have to bring out some of the stuff that was argued, in years back. I mean, because it's a public forum. Now, let me say this before I start. Any of those that disagree with FBA, you are welcome. But my rules in my house, when you come into my house and I'm teaching, I need you to come in and sit down and listen and learn like you got some sense. If I drop the link and allow you to come up and we have a discussion, fine. But I don't need you distracting my chat room while I'm teaching. So now we came in, we already got your position. I don't need you saying nothing else. If you do, I'm right now, because I'm teaching, I'm gonna have to get my people to get you out, because you're going to distract the people that want to come here to learn, right? So when the rules of my house, when you come into my house, you are welcome. Everybody's welcome in my house, but there's respecting rules that I have. Right, there you go. Then there you go. I'm out. Be out, because I don't deal with children troll stuff. Right now, I'm being serious, because you may learn something that you didn't know. But I'm not dealing with the trolling. While I'm teaching, I don't want no distractions in my chat room, because while you're distracting, you're taking away from other people that might come to learn, but they sitting here arguing with you while I'm building. That's not something I want today. I want the young. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. So when we come in, so when I share my screen and we get off into this build, wait 1 second. I want you guys to respect the house. I'm late. I'm late. We complain about today. Well, we're not really complaining. We teaching. We building. I can't tell other people how to do their live streams, but what I do in my streams, I want to pull up information and I want to give you guys the information. So I'm hearing that a lot of ancestors was against this, but they bury. Yes, and we're going to bring that out. We're going to bring that out today. So what I'm asking is, those of you that oppose, when you come in, we got your position, right? But when you in my house, it's just like you go into somebody's house, act like a guest in my house. Don't be in my house running your mouth and saying things out of turn when I'm teaching. Now, now remember, if I create a live stream where I say, hey, I want all smoke, let's go, then that's all. But that's not this live stream. So that's all I'm saying. You're welcome as long as you're respectful in my house, right? So I want to get to this the Deante Kyle situation where he said some very disparaging things about FBA. He came out against FBA. But the thing was, when you guys go back and listen to what he was saying that we should be all inclusive. We should have a window open for everybody. And I'm saying we always been all inclusive. We listen, think of this, y'all. Think of this. We used to argue with Dominicans and so many other groups who said, I know black, I'm Dominican, or I'm not black, I'm this. And we would say, yo, yes, you are black. But to the point where we are black Americans and our blackness means something in this country. Our blackness is connected to the soil of this country. Our blackness is connected to the fabric of this country. Our blackness is connected to the ancestral DNA of this country, right? So our blackness is different from their blackness here in America. So you know what? You know black? Yes, you're right. You're not black. Because when we allow you to be black, now you can come here and benefit from the things that were supposed to be for us while you're not wanting to associate with us. And we were forcing you to associate with us. And I'm saying, no, you're not black no more. No, because your blackness ain't the same as my blackness. And unfortunately, it took us a while to figure that out because we were so, like what Deante Kyle said, that we're not all inclusive. We were so inclusive that we was allowing people to come here and be black that didn't want to be black, that benefit from what we're supposed to benefit from. And saying disparaging names to us. So no, we don't have the same blackness. No, you are Mozambique and you're from there, or you are from Mali. That's where you're from, right? No, you're not black. You are Mandingo from Mali. That's your nationality. That's who you are. Our blackness is connected to the ancestral DNA of America. Yours not. Yours not. I'm not making up nothing, because for too many years they came in and saw that when they didn't identify as black, we cut them off. So what they did was they cosplayed it as black when they didn't identify as black. They identified as Igbo. They identified as Wolof. They identified as God. They identified as all these other groups, Ashanti. That's what they identified as. They didn't identify with us. They only identified with us to ingratiate themselves under us to get the benefits that was there. While at the same time saying that we didn't have a culture. Because they wasn't connected to the ancestral DNA of here. And a lot of them would tell us, y'all not African, you American. And we've been like, huh? Yeah, I got you, right? A lot of them would go and say, you guys are not African, you American. Back when I was practicing Pan-Africanism, so many Africans kept telling me, you're not African. I'm like, huh? What do you mean I'm not African? You're not African. Oh, shoot. I had a brother from Benin tell me, you're not African, right? You're not African. So the thing is, Right. So we learning. So I'm telling you, don't tell if the Dominicans come in and say they know black, tell them, you know what, you right, you know black. You right, you know black. You are a Dominican from the Dominican Republic, right? So in the delineation, I can't even say the word. We have to have a separation. We have to have a separation so that way people can, because remember, you teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to respect you based off the way you treat yourself, right? But remember, when they lied to us and tell us that we wasn't inclusive, we were so inclusive, we was hurting ourselves because we was making people be black when they shouldn't have been black in the first place. Let them identify with their nations and where they come from. Let us be a distinct group separate from everybody else. So that way people can't come here and cosplay as us, come here and speak out against our reparations, come here and say things about us or try to replace us. Because we have our own separate identity, right? Now, if you come in, you 10 toes down, we can be cousins, but we are a different group. Because see, this is the thing. When you in Africa, and you in Nigeria, if you get in the plane and go to Chad, you are a foreigner. If you are from Ghana and you go to Uganda, you are a foreigner. But we had an open door policy. If you come here and just say you black, then you just with us. We were the only group of people on the planet practicing this. Nobody else was. Too many times I heard Ethiopians say, I'm not African. I'm not black. I'm Ethiopian. I'm not African. I'm not black. I'm Ethiopian. They made it catastrophically clear who they was. They made it outstandingly clear that they was not African. They were Ethiopian. While what we was doing was, when you come here, black power, fight the power. Where you from, Zimbabwe? You with us? All right, he with the family. Look, y'all, he can come to the barbecue. We invited everybody to the barbecue. Everybody can come to the barbecue. Everybody. We were the only group of people on the planet that was doing that. So how can he come and say that we not all inclusive? We were the only group. Nobody else was inviting everybody to the barbecue but Big Mama and us. You come here and you do one of our dances, you sing a song the way real good that we like, you got a funny joke, we invite you to the barbecue. We bring you into the fold. We bring you into the family. And we found out that was to our detriment because other groups was not practicing this. Nobody can tell me I'm wrong. I'm not saying nothing disparaging about other groups. I'm not hating on other groups. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. So that's not saying that we can't have Jamaican friends, African friends. I live in the East Coast corridor. I live in Philadelphia. I got a lot of Jamaican friends. I love reggae music. Right? I got a lot of Jamaican friends. That don't mean that you can't have them as friends. But we have to have a self-identifier the same way that they do. Because we've had for too many years, we've had an open door policies. Same thing. Let me get you out of here. I'm not any of my minds in here. I'm not dealing. I ain't dealing with rules while I'm building and teaching. While I'm building and teaching, right? Hold on. Yeah, while I'm building and teaching, I don't want no clown stuff in my chat. I'm building and teaching. Like I told you, if you don't like what we're saying, just leave. Just leave. Like I'm not dealing with 5-year-olds. I'm not one of the FBA brothers that's on here cussing immigrants out, telling you to eat bush meat. I ain't none of that. I'm not making you watch me. I'm not making you click on my channel. I'm not making you do any of this stuff. So why you come here acting like you a 5-year-old? Act like I'm a white man and you going for a job interview and you come in here acting like you got some sense. Act like I'm a white man and you trying to get a job and show some respect. Just come in and sit down and listen. If you want to be here, if not, leave. That's all I'm saying. It don't make no sense It don't make no sense for you to be in here saying stupid stuff and clowning around in the chat room when you a grown up. It don't make any sense. So let me get back. So let me get back. We gotta we had this open door policy, right? That we allow. Let me see if this thing posted real quick because I want to get back into what Deante Kyle said, and then we can go from there before I pull up what Phillip Randolph said and a couple of the others. I want to get it that we can get off into this because this is important. And like I said, with me, the way I operate, I don't do like the hate thing and the argue thing and all that kind of stuff. I'm a 50-year-old black man married to a black woman, 4 kids, 6 grandchildren. I'm out on here cussing and howling and hooping and howling. I ain't doing none of that. I don't believe that I have to denigrate or disrespect another group to actually show love to mine. I don't have to do that. I don't have to come in your space and undermine you. I don't have to come in your space and talk bad about you. I don't have to do none of that. I'm a grown man. I can come on here and teach FBA business and still show love to Trinidadians or Africans. Other FBAs, FBA is a lineage. Everybody don't practice the same. I don't do that. So don't associate me with that foolishness and don't come in my house with disrespect. I don't get down like that. I don't do that. I got one of my best friends that I've done on my other 2 channels that I did 4 years of live streams with. Every time I went live stream was my brother Richie. Richie is Nigerian and Jamaican. We did 100 live streams together. That's one of my best friends. It's one of my best friends. I'm FBA, he not. We disagree on certain topics, but we still love each other. That's my brother. You know something, when I'm doing these lives, he don't come into the space all disrespectful and disagreeing with me. He let me have my position. The sad part is a lot of I ain't gonna say that part, but let me get back to what I was saying. Now, Deante Kyle, he has his position. And the positions that he was taking to me is crazy, right? I think so. Okay. What's up, Craig? Yeah. Damn, I only got 1 mod in the room. Sheesh, where are my mods at? There's some people in here. I don't know them that well, so I don't know who to give the new people wrenches to or not yet. But I want to I'm gonna share the screen. What we got in here? We got 300. Okay, yeah, I can share the screen, and we're gonna get into what Deante Kyle said, and then we're gonna get off into
you got Tariq Nasheed gaining such a following because he's abusive in his verbiage, he's abusive in his rhetoric, and he's here to divide. And his psychology is that of a pimp. All of his books prior to his Black liberation, Black nationalist, Black power movement, all his books was about being a player and a pickup artist. Basically, he was trying to teach you how to be a pimp. Well, we know the pimp to pastor pipeline. A lot of niggas jump out the pimp and go straight into the pastor. That's the best thing smoking. But as things change, as cultures change and evolve, well, he just decided to do it in the Pan-African Black space and then dropped the Pan-Africanism. Hidden Colors was all about what was going on in Africa. All this acknowledgement of Africa. A film directed by him, produced by him. Extremely Pan-African film. What is the person who has this gift of gab, the pickup artist, the pimp, who has seen a righteous path but didn't see no money in that? Well, what do? You got to get back to pimping. But you're going to pimp minds. So what is the advocacy for? What is the abuse that he carries out? Separation versus inclusion. So he wants the Black American to separate from global Blackness. He wants you isolated here on your own. What do cult leaders do?
So he says separation versus inclusion. How can he make that statement? This is how I know he's young and ignorant. How can you make that statement when we have the history on our side to show that we've been inclusive to everybody? We've been so inclusive, we get mad at you when you come in and don't even call yourself black. We've been the most inclusive people on the planet. As the Minister Farrakhan, how inclusive Black Americans have been. As descendants of Marcus Garvey, how inclusive Black Americans have been. As the children of Harry Belafonte, how inclusive Black Americans have been. We've been too inclusive. We've been so inclusive, it's been to our detriment at times, to the point where we forgot to do things for our own selves. To the point where we're being gentrified out of the communities that we live in, while these Black immigrants are calling us lazy and saying that we don't have a culture. We've been way too inclusive. But when you have people like this that lie, it lends to, who is he working for? Who's paying him to get up here and say these lies as if we're this stupid? As if we're this stupid, right?
You got Tariq Nasheed gaining all this acknowledgement of Africa. A film directed by him, Pimp Minds. So what is the advocacy for? What is the abuse that he carries out? Separation versus inclusion. He wants the Black American to separate from global blackness. He wants you isolated here on your own. What do cult leaders do? They separate you. They promise you all these great things. They speak sweet nothings to you. He's going to tell you about every accomplishment that the Black American has made, created, or been involved in. He's going to continue to remind you and pump this false sense of superiority into you.
So us acknowledging our creativity, us acknowledging our innovative abilities, us acknowledging the things that's been stolen from us is a problem. Listen to what this man is saying. What I want everybody to do, right? That's what I want everybody to do. That's watching me. When you guys hear this, I want everybody to take all the emotion out. I want you to look at this. I want you to look at this guy through a blank canvas, right? As like a blank canvas. No emotion. Just with anything of racism, anything of trauma, anything of the W, man, just take it out your head for a minute. And let's look at this just through a clean lens. So we don't make no emotional responses. I want you to listen to what he's saying, right? And then when we unpack it, he's telling the world that we should not be celebrating our history and our accomplishments, our innovations. This is what he's saying. I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm not saying none of that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm letting him tell you himself. This is what this man is saying, right?
Remind you and pump this false sense of superiority into you. Instead of being inclusionary, understanding that Africans have had a hand in some of the biggest inventions involved in. He's gonna want you isolated here on your own. What do cult leaders do? They separate you. They promise you all these great things. They speak sweet nothings to you. He's going to tell you about every accomplishment that the Black American has made, created, or been involved in. He's going to continue to remind you and pump this false sense of superiority into you. Instead of being inclusionary, understanding that Africans have had a hand.
So us acknowledging our innovative history, us acknowledging who we are is a sense of superiority. They once said that we was inferior. They said that we was incapable. They did such a great number on us. They had us calling ourselves, they got our kids calling themselves savages and real N-words and bad B's. So now us fighting to reverse that psychological conditioning, that's a problem to him. Because he's saying that now we're acting like we're superior to anybody else. When other groups came here and said we had no culture, other groups came here and said we wasn't cultured. They said that we were lazy. They said that we were downtrodden in the underbelly of blackness. So now all of a sudden, because we want to love ourselves and we want to reverse the lie, he has a problem with it. George Macon ain't making up nothing. I'm playing to you what he's saying. He's saying this, not me. So when we take the emotion out and we can hear him out with our ears, we can hear everything that he says. We don't hear the first minute and then just get teed off. Next thing you know, we don't hear the next 4 minutes. No, we sit here like we got some sense and we just listen to this man talk. We just listen to him. Let him say it one more time.
From global blackness. He wants you isolated here on your own. What do cult leaders do? They separate you. They promise you all these great things. They speak sweet nothings to you. He's going to tell you about every accomplishment that the Black American has made, created, or been involved in. He's going to continue to remind you and pump this false sense of superiority into you. Instead of being inclusionary, understanding that Africans have had a hand in some of the biggest inventions in this world. The mothers of civilization, the mothers of civilization, the creators of arithmetic. But the thing is that that's not good for business. He tried it with Hidden Colors. It didn't hit the same. People were starting to get away from it because it's a hype, it's a feel-good moment, but there's nothing to capitalize on it. So then you get micro movements versus mass communal practices. What does the divider do? What does the abuser do? What does the cult leader do? What does the pickup artist turn African, Pan-African, turn hyper American patriot do? Separate, micro move, internet rhetoric surrounded by hate speech and fear mongering.
So basically us teaching what we teach is hate speech. Us acknowledging ourselves and calling out the people that look like us that was supposed to come here and join us, calling us lazy and calling us names and separating ourselves is hate speech. But you notice the pattern of a lot of these Pan-Africans, they never, ever, 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 and 10 more evers call out the other side. Never. And I'm gonna prove this in this live stream today. I'm gonna show you how what he's basically going to say is that Africans and Caribbean brothers and sisters are children. He's going to say this himself, not me. I don't believe that Africans and Caribbean brothers are children. I believe that Africans and a lot of Caribbean brothers are very intelligent people, right? Watch what he do. And these going to be his words, not George Macon. His words. Real quick. Francis Augusti, thanks for the $1 cash app. If you guys want to donate, you can donate the cash app at the pinned at the top or across, or you can donate through PayPal or Venmo. If you want to donate to Urban Nerds, Hakeem, our nonprofit. If you guys want to donate to our nonprofit, you can donate there. It's pinned at the top. The cash app, Venmo, or PayPal. So let's get back to it. And thank you for the $1 cash app. This is the thing. Let's get back to what he was saying.
Black nationalism has parallels to white nationalism in the rhetoric of separatism and overlaps of the tribes of Judah that exist in supremacist groups as well. Some of the most radical supremacists also talk about the tribes of Judah.
So now this idiot is comparing what we're talking about to supremacist separatism under the Abrahamic law and tribes of Judah. It has nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. But you notice something, y'all? How come he didn't attribute this same talking point? He didn't attribute this to the Africans that do it. He didn't attribute this to the Nigerians that hold their flag or the other groups. Why only Black Americans? Why only Black Americans? So what I'm saying to my immigrant brothers and sisters, if you really say that you love global Black people and you see what I'm laying out, could y'all please call this out? Could y'all hold this accountable? This is what we're asking. How are we the problem? Right? Just only us. We're the only problem. Nobody else.
So they think their superiority is divine as well. So if you got the same talking points as these,
hey, thanks everybody for the I can't even see. Let me see. Hold on. Thanks for the super chat. I can't see the name. The super chat. Thank you for the $5 super chats. If you guys are able to, when you send the donations in, send them through the PayPal. We'll send so that way YouTube don't take their 30% out. If you guys can, but thank you for all donations. But they don't take their 30% out. Let's get back.
The Fed, the FBA, the Foundation of Black Americans, they involved in nothing outside. They ain't doing side. They on the internet looking for niggas that look just like them to degrade and call tethers all day. I don't see these no work against none of these. Nothing. All I see is calling out other Black people all day. That's divisive. Questioning where you from, where was you born? Nigga gotta show you your freedom papers. Damn, massa. I gotta show you the freedom papers. Who is these niggas on this nag? Steven's over there trying to check a nigga blood. Want to check a nigga papers. Sound like ICE. Another 3-letter organization.
So now he's comparing FBA to ICE, another 3-letter organization. Now watch this, y'all. Watch this.
Healing and perspective, or hate speech and fear mongering. But a lot of us only know how to be in community with abusers. So when they're talking about healing, talking about organization, we start talking about inclusion, we start talking about mass communal practices. You've never seen that. That's not your experience. That's not where you feel comfortable. Claims, checking niggas' verification. What hood is this? What hood is that? Now, if we was gangbanging each other, it would be a problem. But it's not a problem when a nigga asks where you from.
So now he's attributing what we're doing to gangbanging and black on black violence. Black on black genocide. He's equating. See, let me tell you what he's doing. He's dog whistling to YouTube and social media to equate our teachings as hate speech. Okay, this is what he's doing. He's dog whistling for them to push our teachings as hate speech because he doesn't want us separating. Us separating messes up a lot of things financial for the other people. Remember, these are not cities that we live in. These are not cities. These are marketplaces where groups come here to compete. And your dysfunction is very profitable, right? Your dysfunction is very, very, very profitable, right? Because just think about it. While you're being dysfunctional and not owning things and being gentrified out to communities, not having proper schools, who's benefiting economically for what you're not doing? Think about what I'm saying. Who's benefiting economically for what you're not doing? So the minute you start to self-identify and want to take charge of the things that you wasn't doing, who now is not benefiting economically for it? So you're trying to overtake a marketplace that's been controlled by these other groups, where Dr. Carl Anderson warned us that we were just guests in the communities that we live in. Now we're trying to take back control of those communities that we live in. They don't want to give that up. So anything that you're doing to self-identify, they have to make that hate speech. So they have to equate you to those Germans. They have to equate you to the Abrahamic religions, the W supremacists. They have to equate you to ICE. They have to equate all of your talking points to anything negative that they can, because you are trying to undo a conditioning that's been set on the minds of our people for so long. And that in those conditionings connected to economic purse strings. And you are now trying to disrupt a well-organized machine, because Philadelphia is a marketplace. When you walk through West Philadelphia or North Philadelphia or South Philadelphia or Brooklyn, these are marketplaces where people come here to compete. And in that market, you've been at the bottom. You've been sentenced to a lifetime of consumption. Now you're saying we no longer want to be in that position. We want to be in a position where we now have autonomy of our own going forward. And they said, whoa, pump your brakes, player. We was friends and we was cool as long as we could control the narrative. Nobody said, so then when we shut the window and lock the door, you got to come ring the doorbell now. And we got to say, who is it? Before we let you in. Before, we just had an open door policy. Anybody can walk in and put their feet on the coffee table. Now the door is locked, and we looking through the peephole. Yo, it's such and such. Can they come in? That's what's happening now. They got a problem with that, because you ain't supposed to have a culture. You supposed to be wayward. You supposed to be a real N-word. You supposed to be born to one-night stands and not know who your fathers are. You supposed to be all of these stereotypes that they said you were, because as long as you're being that and you're being asleep, the Democratic Party can take advantage of you. The Republican Party can take advantage of you. These immigrants can take advantage of you. But the minute you wake up and say, ho, why y'all didn't deal me no cards? I'm sitting at the table. Where's my cards? I want to participate and play in the game as well. Where my cards at? Oh, don't worry about it. We got cards. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of you. That's the way they've been treating us forever. So he's paid opposition to come here and run interference. Crawford, thank you so much. Right. Thank you so much.
And it's on the internet, and it's on the basis of a culture that we created out of oppression. You don't want to let other niggas participate in your culture because they come over here and degrade him. And you know the business of colonization better than anybody. These niggas is brainwashed. I'm not going back and forth with no nigga that come here from another country in search of the American dream when I know the nightmare. I'm not going back and forth.
Whoa, wait a minute. Now I want you guys again. No emotion. Listen to what he just said right here, because we dissecting this. Look at what he just said. This is very important. Look at what he just said.
Of a culture that we created out of oppression. You don't want to let other niggas participate in your culture because they come over here and degrade him. And you know the business of colonization better than anybody. These niggas is brainwashed. I'm not going back and forth with no nigga that come here from another country in search of the American dream when I know the nightmare. I'm not going back and forth with no nigga that think he's finna get some favor from these white people. I see you niggas that's born in America do this. Michigan head coach. That nigga ain't no tether. Stephen A. Smither. How many niggas have we seen tap dance and degrade black people that are from America, born in America? When niggas do it from abroad, I don't say it's an issue with them. I know that they're brainwashed by the system because they went through colonization over there just like we went through it over here in Africa, because Europeans are destabilizing their countries, inserting capitalist dictators, fascist dictators in more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing. Where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries. Religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries. Niggas fleeing, where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries, dictators in more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing. Where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries because they don't know no better. And it's a.
Did y'all just hear what he just said? This man just sat here and said that they come here brainwashed, right, with their minds to purposely destabilize Black FBA American leadership. And then he said that they don't know no better. Let me ask y'all a question. Who I got 600 and something people in here. Put a 1 in the chat if you got like if you got a child at home, like a baby under 10. Or maybe a niece or a nephew that's under 10. Before I start, if you got maybe a child at home that's under 10 or a niece or a nephew that's under 10, put a 1 in the chat. Watch this, y'all. We're going to make this real simple. Put a 1 in the chat. I'll wait until I see the ones. Right? So, when that child makes a decision on something, we know that they don't know any better because they're a child. We know that they don't understand the consequences of actions the way that an adult would, right? We know that even teenagers don't, a 15-year-old don't understand, a 15-year-old knows right from wrong, but they don't understand the consequences of actions the way a 30-year-old would. We know this is held up in the courts. But when this man can articulate that these grown-ups flee their countries because of policies done by the UN that go into to destabilize countries. So they know what it's like to be oppressed by the W man. Come here, know that we're being oppressed by the W man, but seek to undermine us and take over our leadership. And he says that they don't know any better. So what he just called them were children. He just called them children. But again, he said that they don't know any better, while at the same time castigating us for our position. Checkmate. I didn't make this up. He said this. Deante Kyle said this. While he thought he was flexing and thought he was saying something. See, when we take the emotion out and don't cut them off, don't try to argue with them, sit there and let them talk long enough, they'll expose themselves. Sit there like Malcolm X used to do. Just sit there like this. Let him talk and listen to him. Listen, y'all, now, if y'all heard what he said and comprehended what he said, put a 1 in the chat. So make sure I'm not crazy. If y'all heard what he said, put a 1 in the chat. If y'all disagree with me, put a 2. Because remember, I'm not saying this. He's saying this. Let's play it back a little bit.
back and forth with no nigga that think he finna get some favor from these white people. I see you niggas that's born in America in search of the American dream when I know the nightmare.
He said they come here in search of American dream when he knows that it's a nightmare.
Going back and forth with no nigga that think he finna get some favor from these white people. I see you niggas that's born in America do this. Michigan head coach. That nigga ain't no tether. Stephen A. Smith. How many niggas have we seen tap dance and degrade black people that are from America, born in America? When niggas do it from abroad, I don't say it's an issue with them. I know that they're brainwashed by the system.
So he know that they're brainwashed by the system. And these are things that we've been teaching. But it's funny. How come it's okay because they're brainwashed by the system to do it, but it's not okay for us to stand up for ourselves? What he just told you was that we're not allowed to stand up for ourselves for something that we know that they're doing. We know that these people are like Scar from the Lion King. They've been tainted and abused and beaten. We see it, but we can't defend ourselves against it because they don't know what they're doing. We're supposed to just let them come here but based by his words, let them come here and put the onslaught on us and do nothing about it. Listen to what he's saying, not me. He's saying it.
I went through colonization over there, just like we went through it over here in Africa, because Europeans are destabilizing their countries, inserting capitalist dictators, fascist dictators in more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing. Where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries.
What? Listen, y'all.
Because they don't know no better. And
he said it. He said it. Because they don't know no better. They come here with their religious minds. He said it, not George Macon. Let's hear him say it one more time. Just for the people in the back that's slow.
Capitalist dictators, fascist dictators in more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing. Where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries because they don't know no better.
So what he's saying is it's okay for them to come here and do these things. And we're not supposed to say anything. We see everything that he see. We're doing things to defend ourselves against it. At the same time, we're smart enough to say that we know that that's not all Africans. We know that that's not all Jamaicans. We're talking about the ones that do it. He put us all in one box and then just castigated and destroyed us, while at the same time just called them children because he said that they don't know any better. He called them children. So we actually got more respect for immigrants than he did. He actually just disrespected the hell out of the immigrants. We didn't. We actually put respect on immigrants' names because we know that that's not all immigrants. But he just called these immigrants children because he said that these adult immigrants are coming here doing things, but because of colonization, they don't know what they're doing. But if they've been destroyed and wiped out, they've been through enough to know who the enemy is. But they come here to ingratiate themselves with the enemy, to overtake us, which he's admitting, but they don't know what they're doing. But at the same time, all he want to do is denigrate us.
There's a bunch of niggas in America that don't know no better. They only are used to being in community with abusers. We have been oppressed in this country for 400 years. Some of us don't know how it feels not to be oppressed. Some of you ain't comfortable if you're not oppressed. You've never created an idea of what freedom looks like for you.
So the thing is, he used these talking points and he likes to play both sides, right? He likes to play both sides. He likes to rock the boat and play both sides. But those of us that's not emotionally attached to what he's talking about, that we can take all the emotion and anger and frustration and trauma out and just sit and listen to him. Don't cut him off. Just let him talk. And when it's your turn to talk, oh, I didn't know that you thought about it like that. Oh, so basically you're calling immigrants children. Because he just said right here, if you take the emotion out and call immigrants children, immigrants should be offended by what this man just said about them. They should be offended. They should feel disrespected and offended. Let me see. Lonzo, thanks for the $10 super chat. Yeah. Yeah, he has an identity crisis. If you guys can donate through Cash App or PayPal, Venmo. It's pinned to the top, because when you guys donate here, YouTube take the money out. And every time you guys donate your real quick, for the people that may not know, real fast for people that's for all our people that donate us, real quick, because I want to play a little bit more, and I want to get in while we got 700 people in here. I want to get into the Phillip Randolph thing real fast. I want to when you guys donate, hold on. When you guys donate, your donations is going here. This is our website. Our Urban Nerd, remember, it's going to our foundation, right? So when you guys donate, so this is just to let you guys know, everything that we do, it goes into our foundation and what we do for these inner city, inner city youth. All right. So let's get back. Hold on. Let's get back to it. Let me go back over here. Where was I at? Where were I? Okay. When you guys do donate, it goes straight to our foundation. So that was this dude really like talking bad about us. But now we want to get into what Phillip Randolph said about what he said about these immigrants, right? And we're going to go up here first, and we're going to start here. The new black Negro leadership, right? And I'm gonna start here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read this, and then I'm gonna read this first part, and then we're gonna go right that down to Phillip Randolph. So let me make the screen like this, where you guys can see it, and I can move up so I can see what I'm reading. All right. So it says here the new Negro black leadership. Prior to World War I, the relative benefits of immigrants' restriction for African Americans were no more than conjecture. The experience of World War I, however, revealed how different black life could be if only there were fewer foreigners in the North. The war had curtailed their numbers while drawing blacks from cotton fields to northern cities. The black community was well aware of economic advantages of restriction. Everywhere in the process, and everywhere in the black press, the connections was made. The leading black newspaper, the Chicago Defender, insisted that it is vitally important to keep the immigration gates partially closed until our working class gets a chance to prove our worth in occupations other than those found on plantations. The scarcity of labor creates the demand. With the average American white man's turn of mind, the white foreign laborer is given preference over the black home product, right? When the farmers are not available, the latter gets the inning. The historian Arnold Shankman has concluded that the black community had a definite position on immigration, saying blacks favored immigration restriction, for they were persuaded that the steady influx of foreigners were an obstacle to their own economic advancement. The anti-immigration sentiment was made possible in part by the rising collective consciousness among blacks. Scholars have noted that a new Negro was born in the World War I era, and that African Americans increasingly felt proud of their racial membership in group institutions. The new attitude made them less apologetic about pursuing their own interests. Robert Abbott, the editor of the Defender, had no problem with pursuing what is now called the interest group politics, Abbott said, which we're talking about now, right? So y'all got to listen and pay attention. We would not be conserving our own best interests if we did not endorse the restrictions stand taken by the American Federation of Labor. Restrictionist sentiment was also underwritten by the surge of American nationalisms black felt after World War I. Having served their country in its efforts to make the world safe for democracy, African Americans had demonstrated to themselves, if not to the satisfaction of some whites, that they were loyal Americans. No sooner had the war ended than the black elites write books and essays touting the Negroes' American role in the struggle. Booker T. Washington, former Secretary Emmett Scott, wrote an instant history of black participation. Racial pride and American patriotism proved fertile ground for those who believe black Americans deserve opportunity more than foreign whites. Put another way, the nationalism unleashed by the war made African Americans less concerned about universalism and more concerned about pursuing their own group interests as blacks and as Americans. So this is old. This is not new. This is not new, right? At the grassroots level, the nationalism that fueled restrictionless impulse often revealed an unattractive racist undertone, no different from many white restrictionists. A Pittsburgh Courier, for instance, could not refrain from coupling pejorative stereotypes with its economic nationalism. In addition to its economic argument, the paper held that Americans should not monopolize Pullman Porter jobs on the railroad because the Japanese were too short to take down the upper berth without the ladder. Now, let's go down to what A. Phillip Randolph said about being a restrictionist, right? Let me get some of my water real quick. Y'all still with me, right? Check. Y'all still with me? Y'all still with me? Because we gotta make sure that we pour these things out. Because they like to bury and hide this kind of stuff, right? They like to bury and hide a lot of the positions of our grandparents. Now, everybody black wasn't on this. There was other black people that disagreed with black people on the restrictionist part. So there was an argument, but they don't never bring this part out. Okay, yeah, you're still here. All right. So A. Phillip Randolph. If the perceived contradiction between their restrictionist desires and inclusionist principle led civil leaders to silence, not all national black leaders were silent. In August of 1924, A. Phillip Randolph articulated the most thoroughgoing oppositions to immigration. Instead of reducing immigration to 2% of the 1890 quota, we favor reducing it to nothing. We favor shutting out the Germans from Germany, the Italians from Italy, the Hindus from India, the Chinese from China, even the Negroes from the West Indies. This country is suffering from an immigration indigestion. Randolph made it clear that his position was economic and social. It's time to call a halt to this grand rush for American gold, he said, which overfloods the labor market, resulting in lowering the standards of living, race riots, and general social degradation. The excessive immigration is against the interests of the mass of all races and nationalities in this country, both foreign and native. Randolph's restrictionist position may have very well been influenced by the experience of a Southern migrant to New York City amid the large influx of West Indians during the period. Born in 1889 in Jacksonville, Florida, Randolph moved to New York at the moment that the West Indians, as well as African Americans, were arriving in the city in large numbers. In 1930, over 50,000 foreign blacks lived in New York. As Du Bois' second reason for silence reveals, many African Americans were hostile towards West Indians. Certainly, Randolph also could be harsh on West Indians, yet his basis of criticism, listen, y'all, his basis of criticism of West Indians lay in their political shortcomings, not their economic competition and ethnic chauvinism. Now, they was harsh on them because of they went against us politically, and they had ethnic chauvinism towards us, right? For all their talk of resisting oppression, West Indians, Randolph believed, did not take the appropriate steps to organize against discrimination. Most notably, Randolph castigated West Indians for not becoming citizens of the United States. To challenge discrimination, blacks, he held, needed political power, and such power could not be garnered by citizens. It is also elementary that whether one be a citizen or not, he is affected by the legislation of the country where he happens to be residing. he called for black immigrants to follow the example of the Jews and Irish who had become citizens to increase their clout. So watch this. This was over 100. This was almost damn near 100 years ago. So how are we saying what we're saying now any different than what they were saying then when they're using the same playbook? Just revamp for the new matrix that they created. Why are we the problem? When A. Phillip Randolph, the black man credited in creating the black middle class with the Pullman Porters, was saying this back then. He was saying this back then, not George Macon. George Macon ain't making up nothing. I'm not making this stuff up. Randolph restrictionism cannot be dismissed as an abbreviation of the post-war years. In the 1930s, he supported legislation to exclude non-Americans from working on railroads as servants. The Pullman Company had often used Asians to weaken the brotherhood of the sleeping car porters union recognition drive. In 1933, Randolph supported legislation introduced by Senator Clarence C. Dill of Washington that forced railroads to hire only American citizens in service positions when engaged in interstate commerce. When asked his opinion on the bill by NAACP Walter White, Randolph endorsed it. For civil rights leaders such as Walter White, it was the affinity between nationalism and racial exclusion that prompted them to oppose restrictionists. This is the NAACP opposing, right? Or exclusionist immigrants policy, despite what it held out for black labor. He opposed the Dill bill. So they still had these same arguments going back and forth. So we got to pull these receipts out, man, so we can have the conversations, man. Walter White did not have a monopoly on principles, and Randolph was far from lacking in that department. In fact, all who knew Randolph thought of him as a person of principle and integrity. Of him, Oswald Garrison Viller of the NAACP wrote, "They say that Randolph is absolutely to be trusted, that he cannot be influenced undoubtedly. He stands four square to all the winds. He stood to no wiles or artifices to attain his goal. He is steeped in principle, and he has the complete certainty of a true reformer and the eventual triumph of his cause. He adopts none until he is certain it is morally right and that it will result in the advantage of the entire community." So the NAACP, even though they didn't support the bill, supported him because the NAACP was getting that fund from them protected groups. So it was only but so far they can go because we already know where a lot of their money was coming from. So they were already being controlled, but they was at the same time still supporting A. Phillip Randolph in his position because they knew at that time what he was saying was right. What he was saying was right. Right? Unlike many other restrictionists, including many African Americans, Randolph did not form his restrictionist ideas out of hatred or xenophobia. Don't that sound familiar? We're not saying it out of hatred or xenophobia. It appears no one ever accused him of doing so. Like most restrictionists, Randolph came to the position out of loyalty to and concern for his group. Like most restrictionists, Randolph came to his position out of loyalty to and concern for his group. As a boy in Florida, he experienced the rise of Jim Crow, which came down forcibly on his world as redemption had come down on his fathers. As a working class minister in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, Randolph's father had a strong racial consciousness and idolized the black nationalist Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. I'm kind of shaky on Henry McNeil Turner, though, for a reason, because of some of the things that he said. Turner's nationalism was never the cheap and dirty variety born of hatred. Rather, it was born of the righteousness of the oppressed who had long harbored the idea of racial reconciliation. Bishop Turner left a lasting influence on the minister's sons. Across lines, Randolph identified with those who took the group's problem as their own and sought solutions from it. From his days in Jacksonville to his early days in New York, Randolph politicized black identity. Besides having Turner offer as a role model, Randolph admired W.E. Du Bois for his spirit of protest and advocacy for social equality, while rejecting the accommodationist posture of Booker T. Washington. Randolph could not help but respect his organizational ability. So when we get to Randolph, Randolph was fighting on behalf of black folks. He was fighting on behalf of us. He was standing up. He was standing up for his group, right? For us in America. And he was voting against, he was fighting against the policies of these other groups, because when they came here, they wasn't rocking with us like that. I'm not making this stuff up. They had their own agendas even back then, right? Even back then. When you get here, what Randolph thought of immigration reform and post-war America remains unknown. His personal papers provided no insight to how he viewed the McCarran-Walter Act of 1952 and the Heller and the Hart-Celler Act of 1965, given that his concern was focused on African Americans, the general prosperity of the post-wars, no different from that of the 20s, right? Probably had a little effect on his thinking, the plight of the displaced farm workers. So he was fighting mainly for here, right? If you notice, his talking points, right, was the same as Dr. Claude Anderson. The same. Let me see. Right. The same as Dr. Claude Anderson, where he's arguing on behalf of his group. Right. So it's funny. It's funny how, let me share for a minute before I hold on. Share for a minute before I reshare, because I want to make this point, right? I want to make this point, and then we'll come right back. Everybody stay still, don't go nowhere, because this is important. I got to lay these facts out. I want to lay these facts out. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. What did he say? Because the thing is, when you start teaching, where you at, CR Royalty? What happened to your where you at, CR Royalty? How you don't have no you ain't no moderator? Add as a moderator. Let me give you your wrench. Your wrench should have been over here, CRU. I don't know how you ain't had no wrench. Hold on, I'm trying to find something before we get to the other part. Hold on. Don't nobody go nowhere. This is important, because I gotta reshare. Because now I want to get into the coon and the sellouts and the stuff that I want to get into, the coon and the sellouts and the stuff that people like Deante, Kyle and them, the stuff that Deante, Kyle and them talk about, right? And what happens when we're dealing with the people that we're dealing with, right? We're dealing with these Sambos, we're dealing with these sellouts, we're dealing with these different groups, right? So we got off into A. Phillip Randolph, and what I'm gonna do in my next live stream, I'm gonna pull up more of the NAACP's position on immigration as opposed to A. Phillip Randolph, and start tying things together to the black leadership of old and the arguments that they were having. We'll bring that up, but we can bring it up to speed today, right? So now people come in and they may disagree and pull out certain things, but this is factual A. Phillips Randolph's position, back then. So we got to pull up these receipts of our ancestors of the past, because it's important. Hold on. Is that where's everybody? Everybody wrenches. There's a lot of wrenches that's going that I never took people wrenches away. Right. So we gotta make sure that we're studying the history. And studying the history is not hate. This is not hate. This is historical events that happened in our past that's creating the present now. We have to bring this stuff out. We have to bring this stuff alive, right? Somebody say, here comes the FBI enforcement agents. Right. So now we're gonna share the screen again. Let's go over here to the coon character, right? And I know this ain't exciting because y'all want to hear us hooping and hollering and making a lot of noise and stuff like that. No, sometimes we got to come in and we got to have a conversation and we got to teach and talk about why our people behave the way they behave, the proper conversations that we should have, right? When we having these FBA conversations, right? So we get to the Coon and Sambo character and why you have controlled opposition in the manner in which we have it. Why are people coming out and going against us in the manner in which they're doing it? Why is this happening, right? Why do you have these sellouts, right? Why do you come in our places and sit in our comment sections when we're not even bothering or talking about you? Why does this happen? So now we go into the Jim Crow Museum, right? And we deal with the Coon character, right? So let's get off into the Coon. Let's get off into the Coon, right? The Coon character is one of the most insulting of all anti-black characters. The name itself, an abbreviation of a raccoon, is dehumanizing. As with Sambo, the Coon was portrayed as a lazy, easily frightened, chronically idle, inarticulate buffoon. The Coon differed from the Sambo in subtle but important ways. Sambo was depicted as a perpetual child, not capable of living as an independent adult. The Coon acted childish, but he was an adult. Albeit a good for little adult, Sambo was portrayed as a loyal and contented servant. Sambo was portrayed as a loyal and contented servant. Indeed, Sambo was offered as a defense for slavery and segregation. These are your black conservative leadership that come on here and they make all kinds of excuses. What's up, Dana? They make all kinds of excuses, right, for W supremacy. They say that they believe in Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. They put Jesus out in front of everything. But if you notice these Sambos, they never, ever show the accomplishments or the positivity of the black community, of black Americans. They never ever, for who and what they claim that they are, they never ever show it as a reflection of their life and the black people that's like them. They're paid to only come on there and justify the underbelly of our culture. That's all they talk about. If you notice, when you're dealing with all these black conservatives, they either got a W wife or a W husband, and all they talk about is what we do wrong and not what we do right. Right? If I'm wrong, if you with me, put a 1 in the chat. This is what your black conservatives do, right? But then you have some of these Pan-Africans or the Sambos as well, because all they do is romanticize Africa, and they never ever hold Africa accountable for anything. But they don't have no problem with castigating black Americans. This one guy came and said what I showed you. He said that the European is destabilizing their country, and they're fleeing their country with their religious beliefs and tribal beliefs and undermining black Americans, but he said that they don't know any better. So he relegated them to children, right? So I have more respect for the African and the immigrant than he do, because he just called them children. I didn't call them children. They know better. They know what they're doing, right? So when you get here, indeed, the Sambo was offered a defense for slavery and segregation. How bad could these institutions have been? Listen, this is the Sambo. This is your wow, I'm sitting here. Larry Elders, Jesse Lee Petersons, your Anton Daniels, and all these other dudes that's online that talk the way that they talk. How bad could these institutions have been? Asked the racialist. If black people were contented, even happy being servants. The Coon, although, listen, this is important. The Coon, although he often worked as a servant, was not happy with his status. He was simply too lazy or too cynical to attempt to change his lowly position. So the Sambos is just the complete sellouts. A lot of the Coons are the ones that talk this black first African bang bang anywhere, pro-black stuff, but they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything to change the situation. The coon is the one that says black power, power to the people. The white man is this, but he ain't worked with no black person a whole year to change anything with the community. He ain't doing nothing with the community. He ain't even got a black wife or a black husband. They talk this blackness, but these are the coons. The Sambos are the ones that's just the complete sellouts. The coons are the ones that's standing right next to you talking black stuff, but ain't doing nothing about it. So let's start putting coon in its proper context. We use coon in the wrong way. Jesse Lee Peterson is not a coon, right? Anton Daniels is not a coon. These are from the Sambo class. A lot of these coons are the ones standing right next to you. Turn to the person next to you, and that's your coon right there. Because they got an 18th degree in Bible and Quran and blackness, but they ain't doing nothing to uplift blackness. The coon, although he worked as a servant, was not happy with his status. He was simply too lazy or too cynical to attempt his lowly position. Also in the 1900s, Sambo was identified with older, docile black people who accepted Jim Crow laws and etiquette, whereas the coons were increasingly identified with young, urban black people who disrespected white people, right? Stated differently, the coon was a Sambo going bad. The coon was a rebellious Sambo, but ain't going to do nothing about it. Tucker Carlson is impressed by FBA. So yeah, we know. Hey, listen, right? No, let me highlight that, right? This is what I'm saying when you get these Tucker Carlson was impressed by FBA, so we know who the coons are, right? It's funny that you say that, but Tucker Carlson is also impressed by these black conservatives that's over there agreeing with them, and them African immigrants that's over there agreeing with them. I don't see you making no comments like that towards them. You making my point even stronger. Thank you for this comment, because you're proving my point. You guys got a problem with foundational black Americans waking up and want to claim themselves. We got the doors locked, and now you got to ring the doorbell to get into the house. We checking IDs for people like you. Thank you for this comment. Because I guarantee you would never, ever make a comment like this towards Africans that ingratiate themselves with white folks, or marry a white woman, or marry some white cooch, or go over there. You would never make the comments towards them. It's only towards us. Thank you for this comment. Thank you so much. See, the thing is, you let them expose themselves. You let them expose themselves because the door is locked. They got to ring the doorbell now to get into the house, right? Get into the house. Let's keep reading. Hold on. Let me go down to here real quick. The coon culture was born during American slavery. Slave masters and the overseers often describe the enslaved as slow, lazy, once pushing, eye-servant trifling. The master and the enslaved operated with different motives. The master desired to obtain from the enslaved the greatest labor by any means. The enslaved desired to do the least labor while avoiding punishment. The enslaved registered his protest against slavery by running away, and when that was not possible, by slowing work, doing shabby work, and destroying the tools and faking illnesses. Slave masters attribute the slaves' poor work performance to shiftiness, stupidity, desire for freedom, and genetic deficiencies, right? And the crazy thing is, a lot of these people that oppose FBA that got a problem is still stuck in this way of thinking, because you don't want to think for yourself. You don't want to self-identify. You want to identify with the names that they gave you. You want to be up under their foot and up under their tutelage because you are afraid to be independent on your own for fear of failure. It's easy to be controlled by them while still complaining about them, right? Because if anybody has any thought of being independent of these people, you got a problem with them. You got a problem with them, and you'll call them out. So you're proving the coon character and the Sambo thing right. It's working. You're proving it by your behavior, your displeasure of black people that lift their head out of the sand and say, hey, let's do this on our own. You looking over and saying, Negro, please. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. The amount of work done by typical enslaved persons dependent on the demands of individual. Let me go down. Hold on. I want to go down. hold on. Let me get to where, hold on. Okay. Okay, yeah, we'll get here. I'll get to this part here. Listen, right? Listen. Yeah. The supporters of slavery claimed that black people were a childlike people unequipped for freedom. Pro-slavery acknowledged that, now mind you, the supporters of slavery claimed that black people were a childlike people unequipped for freedom. But Deante said that these people were oppressed by the W man and countries destabilized, and they would come over here and do these bad things to black Americans, but they don't know any better. And he allowed them to do it. And he said, and he basically said it's okay, but we're not supposed to defend ourselves from this, right? Pro-slavers acknowledged that some slave masters were cruel, but they argued that most were benevolent, kind-hearted capitalists who criticized and improved their docile black works. From radical Reconstruction to World War I, there was a national nostalgia for good old darkies who loved their masters still today. All right, and according to the pro-slavers, rejected or only reluctant accepted emancipation. In context, the conceptualization of the coon was revised. During slavery, almost all black people, especially men, were sometimes seen as coons. They were lazy, shiftless, virtually useless. However, after slavery, the coon character was increasingly applied to younger black people. Listen, y'all, younger black people, right? Especially those who were urban, flamboyant, and contemptuous of white people. Let's read that again. However, after slavery, so listen, when we're using it the wrong way, who you're calling Sambos, right? We got to put in this proper perspective, right? And this is what I'm trying to tell you, right? However, slavery, the coon character was increasingly applied to younger black people, especially those who were urban, flamboyant, contemptuous of white people, right? Thomas Nelson Page, a writer, wrote in 1904. They wrote this in 1904. So when I'm telling, remember when y'all, for my hardcore people that follow me, that's been following me for a long time, when I was doing the series Death to the Real N-Word, I wasn't talking about killing nobody. I was talking about unaliving that N-word in your brain, because you didn't understand that you were the coon. You run around here talking about you hate the W man, but you still making babies that you're not taking care of. You still unaliving your own brothers. You still making music, desecrating your own people and your own culture, and you're promoting only the underbelly of our culture while at the same time saying that you hate W supremacy. You are the coon, but didn't even realize it. And then when you see a black person saying disparaging things about the black community, you called him a coon, not realizing that you were the coon. So I was always saying, yo, death to the real N-word, death to the bad B. We ain't none of that. We no longer believe the lie. We ain't none of that. I'm telling you that the W man wrote this, so when he see you acting out and calling certain black people coons and Sambos, they don't care, because they know that you're saying it out of ignorance, because you don't even know no better. You're the one behaving like the coon. You're the one behaving like the coon. And then you get on here and you defend W supremacy while going after your own people for wanting to level up and self-identify, for wanting to no longer believe the lie, for wanting to get off the Democratic and Republican plantation and have his own mindset. You want to go against him and take his talking points and put it to W supremacists and those German people. So now you want to dog whistle to the W man to make our speech seen as hate speech. You are the coon. That's what you are. This is what I'm showing you. They playing you. That's why they shove the microphone in your face. They take the microphone from us, but they shove. Hold on. What? Okay. They shove the microphone in your face, but take the microphone away from us. They don't want us to have a voice because now we showing the truth and telling you what they doing to you. Man, get that coon the microphone, man. He don't even know what he talking about. He don't even know in 1904, we already done applied this to him. Every time he speak, he creating the energy around that to keep manifesting that energy. Oh, them guys over there, they're a problem because they're causing a disruption to what we're doing in the marketplace. Take their microphones, send them over there to make that what they're talking about is hate speech. He's trying to wake up black folks. Did he say nerves over N-words? Did he say death to the real N-word? Is he telling you not to be a bad bee? Is he showing you that they wrote in 1904, the younger black people, especially those of urban, flamboyant, and contemptuous to white people, were the coons? So when you calling the white man the devil and you out there, but you ain't doing nothing to actually help advance the race forward, you out there, you got a bunch of baby moms, you on here committing verbal genocide online every day, you are a coon. Yes, you are. You are a proud coon and sellout. Let me get you out of here. You ain't talking about Phillip Randolph work with the feds. Yeah, let me get you going. I'm not dealing with that. You could take that over there and start your own live stream up, and you could teach that Phillip Randolph was a Fed and all that kind of stuff. You could take that. You could take that right over there where you hold on for a second. Hold on. Did I time out the wrong person? Hold on. Anybody for my minds, anybody here saying crazy things about Phillip Randolph, just time them out. Don't block them, but time them out. Time them out. We ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that. We over here building. Anybody over here saying that stupid stuff, man? Right? Universally, the white Southerners will tell you that while the old time Negroes were industrious, saving, and when not misled, well-behaved, kindly, respectful, and self-respecting, and while the remnant of them who remain still retain generally these characteristics, the new issue for the most part are lazy, shiftless, intemperate, insolent, dishonest, and without the most rudimentary, elementary, or morally, universally, they report a generally depravity and retrogression of the Negroes, right? So now they're going in on us and talking about our personalities and the way that we operate and the way that they see you. They see you as something as less than. They see you, they see you as something that they have to dumb themselves down in order for you to get to their level. This is why they have the thing, Make America Great Again, right? Make America Great Again. They shouldn't have to be ashamed of being white anymore. Because they feel like all of your achievements and things that you've achieved in this country, you got it because they allowed you to have it. They've dumbed down who they are in order for you to be able to participate in their societies. This is what they believe. This is what they teach. This is in their writings. And at the beginning of the 1900s, many white people supported the implementation of Jim Crow laws and etiquette. They believed that black people were genetically therefore permanently inferior to white people. Black people were, they argue, hedonistic children, irresponsible if left to their own plans, destined for idleness, or worse. It was not uncommon for white people to distinguish between, listen, jiggers, coons, and bucks, and Negroes, toms, sambos, and mammies, and they preferred the latter, right? They said it was not uncommon. It was not uncommon for white folks to distinguish between jiggers, coons, and bucks, Negroes, toms, sambos, and mammies, and they preferred the latter. And to this day, George, why are you saying this? George, why are you reading this? When you look at these black conservatives, they talk like toms, sambos, and mammies. And they make excuses for all of the things. They tell you that you don't deserve reparations. Candace Owens and them come and says that there's no more racism. They go out of their way to defend the status quo. They go out of their way to defend it. But it goes all the way back to these talking points. And then you have what they call the troublemakers, right? The coons who get out here and talk all this wild, crazy stuff, but they're not really going to do anything. They say that the W man is this, and then they go to work for them, and they're not building nothing in their own communities to do anything where black people can benefit from. So what you have is the Sambos and the Toms and the Mammies. Then you have the coons. Then you have black folks in the middle that's confused. Then you have the Sambos and Toms and Mammies, the coons on this side, and then other black people in the middle that's confused. They don't know whether they're coming or going, right? Because the coons is telling you, come over here, brother. Come over here, black man. Come over here, God. Be a part of this, black man. Yeah, power to the people, man. And you like, yo, why we don't own the properties on this block? Why we don't have this for ourselves, and why we not building this? Oh, don't worry about it, black man. They preach a good sermon to make you feel good, but they ain't building nothing. They not establishing nothing. And the minute the black people in the middle try to self-identify, listen, y'all. The minute the black people in the middle try to self-identify, you get the Larry Elders and the Anton Daniels and the Jesse Lee Petersons, the Candace Owens, all of them come out against you. And then on the other side, you get the Deante Cows and all these people from the Democratic regime. They come out against you, right? And then the black folks in the middle, we like, well, damn, before we even get attacked by the W, man, we getting attacked by black conservatives and radical coons. And we in the middle like, well, damn, we catching fire from all of them. And the thing is, you see the black conservatives coming, but the radical coons, you don't see them coming right away. You think they on your side. But show me what Pan-Africanism has done for the black community. Show me in the last 60 years what Pan-Africanism has done for black Americans in America. Show it to me. Show me what Pan-Africanism has done in black Detroit and black Baltimore. How has it unified black Americans to stop gentrification? Show it how it has politically unified black Americans and Africans. Show it to me. Show it to me. But you have these radical so-called pro-blacks and black first that come right out there and they'll start punching you and attacking you. And you like, but you thought they was on your side, but they not. They're not on your side. They're gonna denigrate and ridicule you for wanting to separate yourself from something that you see that's not working. While they maintain this stuff, because see, they can come under the guise of Pan-Africanism and black first, but it's not required for them to do anything. Umar Johnson can still have a large following, but it's not required for him to do anything. It's not required for them to do anything. All they got to do is come and say some real feel-good stuff to make you feel good, but they have no requirements of producing nothing. That's why in the black community, the bar is set so low. The expectations are so low. So you can have so many come and infiltrate and take advantage of the black community without producing nothing, because it's ran by a bunch of coons that say that they don't like the system of the W, man, but they don't produce anything. And while you don't see them coming, you see the black conservatives coming a mile away. But these goddamn Pan-Africans and black first people are the ones kicking you clean in your ass. And the minute you try to separate from both of them, you get attacked. You get attacked. That's a checkmate all day long. Black folks are stuck in the middle, trying to figure out, how do we fix this problem? You can't fix the problem because you've been sold out on the left hand. On the left hand sold you out and the right hand sold you out. But you still got a brain where you can see that something's wrong, but you've been controlled by the left and the right hand. And you've been sold out by both of them. And now we got to start holding it all accountable. We got to start holding it all accountable. racial characters are undergirded by stereotypes, and stereotyping of black people as coons continued throughout the 20th century. The pioneer study of racial and ethnic stereotyping in the United States was conducted in 1933 by Daniel Katz and Kenneth Bartley, two social scientists. They questioned 100 Princeton University undergraduates regarding the prevailing stereotypes of racial and ethnic groups. That their research concluded that black people were continuously described as superstitious, happy-go-lucky, and lazy. The respondents had these views even though they had little or no contact with black people. And what happens is when they put these labels on you for so long, you start to believe it, and you start to manifest behavior based off of what they called you. So now you are responding to what you are not. And this is why you produce what you produce in the community. What do you mean by that, George? You produce the underbelly of the culture, and you never, ever, ever highlight the positivity of what we got going on, because you're stuck in a perpetual, it's just raining all the time. The sun is never shining. All your content is sad. We don't talk about the black graduates. We don't highlight black people in the HBCUs. We don't highlight black people doing nothing positive, because you believe that in order for a black person to be doing anything positive, he has to be a sellout or a Sambo or a coon. It's impossible for him to be doing anything positive or achieving anything. He has to be a sellout. This is what we've been relegated to. So now, when you see a Deante Kyle come out and make the comments that he's making, he's making these comments because he can't even picture any of us outside of the realm of being destitute or traumatized or sad. He's suffering from what I call the Freddy Krueger effect. He's lost his ability to dream. Anybody that come and say, man, I want better for myself, nigga, please. That's what we do to each other. And that's why, and this is why when I bring the point back home, people can't get with FBA. They can't get with FBA because FBA now is thinking for yourself. FBA is manifesting a new reality. FBA is a changing of the thought process. FBA is saying, hey, I want to self-identify. I don't want to be associated with the lies that when I turn around, it's manifested nothing. So if it's manifested nothing, I want a change because I'm tired of nothing, right? So you have the Toms and the Mammies and the Coons, they're coming after you. And I told you guys, the biggest detractors is going to be your own people, because you are trying to now download into the subconscious mind something different. You're trying to change the programming. You're trying to create a whole new programming in the subconscious mind of people. And change is hard when people are not ready for change. They're going to fight you tooth and nail because either their economic purse strings is connected to it, or they just simply don't. Even in their complaining and frustration about the system, they can't see themselves in anything else outside of it. So they're going to fight you. It's going to be your mama. It's going to be your children. It's going to be your wife. It's going to be your husband. It's going to be everybody. So what we need is constant repetition every day of saying no more, because it's produced nothing. Our ancestors didn't die for our vote, for us to be voting for something that produces nothing. They died for us to use our brain and cerebrally and move in ways that's going to advance us forward. That's what your grandmother, my grandfather, and your grandmother and all our grandparents fought for. Not just for you to go vote for the lesser of two evils. It's for you to use your intellect to be independent of the coon and independent. Hold on, let me get him out of here. I'm not FBA. And guess what? You're no longer in my chat room. Let me time you out for 24 hours. Let me get you out of here. You're no longer in my chat room. Right? You're going to get people like that that's going to come in here and say stupid stuff. Mind you, the internet is free. You could be wherever you want, but for some reason, you want to come in here and antagonize us. I'm not on nobody else's channel cussing them out, disrespecting them. I'm just over here teaching. And I'm telling you, be wary of the coon. The coon is not Jesse Lee Peterson. The coon is not Candace Owens. No. The coon is that brother standing right next to you, going hard. And then when you look past, when you open up the curtains and you look past him, you say, damn, dude, you ain't doing nothing to advance black people forward. Nigga, you got 6 baby moms. You ain't got no job. You ain't working with no black people. You are the stereotype. You're the stereotype. Be wary of them people. Be wary of them. Those that know better, but don't want to do better. That's why I had the series Death to the Real N-Word. We weren't talking about unaliving nobody. I was talking about these Negroes amongst the group. The Brother Polites, all of them. The Umar Johnsons, all of them. Amongst the group that talk a lot of good game, but they produce squatta, nothing. You got to watch out for them people, man. Because those are the ones. Let me share. Let me stop. Let me share real quick. Those are the ones that come up against FBA. Those, if you look at most of the ones that come up against FBA, the so-called coons, they come from these positions, but they ain't doing nothing, absolutely nothing for the black community. Nothing. I'm talking about nothing for the black community. But they got a whole lot of smoke for FBA. And think about it, y'all. Think about it. Hold on for a second. Let me acknowledge. Let me see. Let me acknowledge people that donated real quick. James C. Woods, thanks for the $25 cash app. Yeah, if you guys want to donate to Urban Nerds, Hakeem is pinned at the top. You can donate through PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App, as you can see scrolling across if you want to donate. But think about this, right? Think about this. FBA hasn't been around for a very long time, right? And a lot of people got a lot of problems with FBA. But way before you had FBA, you had Pan-Africanism, you had the Black Church, you had the Nation of Islam, you had Hebrew Israelites, you had Moors, you had all these different groups, right? And everybody got smoke for FBA. But what I'm asking is, in Black Detroit, Black DC, Black Baltimore, Miami, New York City, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, all these places, what has the Nation of Islam? What is the Hebrew Israelites? What is the modern Black church? What has any of these groups done for the Black community to stop gentrification? To stop so many young women having babies out of wedlock and these boys from going to prison and being wayward? It's been a colossal failure. So how can you be so mad at FBA, which is virtually new on the scene, and all you coons got all this smoke for them, but the Nation of Islam and the Hebrew Israelites told you that ain't nothing coming from the sky to save you. They said the W man was the devil and do for self. Show me the Nation of Islam stores in the Black community, and the Nation of Islam gas stations, and the Nation of Islam businesses, and the Hebrew Israelite businesses. Where are they? They was the ones that told you, don't go to the church. Do for self. Where are the do for self Black people? Where are they? In these Black cities. I'm waiting. So now, while they got you saying disparaging things about FBA, which is fairly new, you ain't mentioning them at all. At all. They've been around for a very long time. The Moors said, don't call yourself Black. Where are the Moors stores? Where are the Moors restaurants and the Moors supermarkets for the Black community? The Black church didn't tell you to do for self. The Black church told you to wait on Jesus. And whenever a catastrophe happened, we gathered hands and we prayed. We prayed in a unified prayer for Christ to come save us and have faith. That's what the church told you. The church told you to wait on God. The Muslims told you, don't wait on God. The Hebrew Israelites told you, don't, it's within. And repent and come back to the law, statutes, and commandments and build. None of them produce nothing in the black community. Nothing. But y'all got all this smoke for FBA. It don't make any sense. All this, you know why you got all the smoke for FBA? Because it requires you, I'm telling you guys, and see, we dropped off from 700 to 577 because now I'm talking about accountability. I equate this to me being married for 25 years, right? I've been married to the same black woman for 25 years. And the reason why I've been married to the same black woman for 25 years is because of a choice. See, I was locked up in a cell years ago with a brother from the Nation of Islam named Zachary Ricketts. May he rest in peace. And I was locked up for doing some very bad things to my people. At that time, I was in a state of ignorance. I was very young. I was 22 years old at that time in the 90s. And he looked at me and said something to me even my father never told me. And I was raised with my father, had my father in my life all my life, right? He said, young man, if you make it out of this and you get back to the streets and you don't have, because in Pennsylvania, when you get locked up for murder or you get locked up for certain things, it's an automatic life sentence, right? First degree is an automatic life sentence. Automatic life sentence and penalty, depending on to the discretion of the jury and the judge. Second degree murder in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is automatic life. Automatic life. So to catch a body in a place like Philadelphia, you're cooked, you're fried. Or be locked up in connection with a body, you're fried, right? Selling drugs in Philadelphia in the 80s and 90s is almost impossible not to catch a body or be associated with a body because it was so territorial and so dangerous, right? Right? So what I'm saying is, I was in a cell and the elder Zachary Ricketts said, young man, you know you got a choice. And I looked at him and I didn't understand what he was talking about, Doug. I said, I got a choice. What do you mean I got a choice? He said, young man, you got a choice. Whether you want to be in here or not, whether you want to do better, whether you want to do better, and be better. You got a choice, young man. I'm 22 years old at the time. I'm wild with it. I ain't trying none of that stuff, man. He said, young man, you here because you had a choice. I never knew I had a choice. I thought that my lifestyle was predicated on the environment that I was in. And I was living based off the environment. I never woke up and said, hey, I'm going to be a part of hurting people. But the environment that I was in was surrounded around wolves. And in order to survive, you had to be a wolf, right? And then I had little man's complex. So I was probably 10 times worse than the wolf. Right? So the brother told me, he said, man, I ain't telling you got to be in the Nation of Islam, but he gave me knowledge of stuff that night in the cell. We got up to pray and he gave me knowledge of stuff. And when he gave me knowledge of stuff, I still went out and did bad things, but I was never the same once he introduced me to knowledge that I didn't have. Right? And I'm saying all that to say, when I found out that I had a choice, I've been married to the same black woman for 25 years, 4 kids, 6 grandchildren, because I chose to be married. I chose to stick it in a sacrifice and be committed to something. I chose to stick it in and see what the legacy would look like. When I'm no longer here and they read my obituary, what are they going to say about George? What is the minister going to say about George and the life that he lived while he was here? While people can experience me and I can experience people, what are they going to say? So I started to be intentional in the way that I did things. So how do you tie this into what you're saying? You have a choice whether you want to do things for your people and be better. You don't have to be a coon. You don't have to be a Sambo. You have a choice whether you want to be better. You have a choice. You have a choice whether you want to build in your community and have a more communal way of thinking and not just, I only care about myself and my household. You have a choice. The W man knows this, but he sets up the choices for you to make you believe you don't have a choice. You don't have to be a part of none of their agendas. you could be a part of what you're doing with your people and do business with the system, not have the system working you. Because see, I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was a smart N-word. I thought I understood all the N-word traps until one of my teachers, Zachary Ricketts, told me. He said, if you understood all the nigger traps, then why are you in the nigger trap? And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, how you in the white man's prison? And I got quiet. He said, I thought you understood everything. Well, why are you in the white man's prison? You caught in the nigger trap. When you telling me you understand the nigger traps. So when you over there propagating these Republican talking points, black conservative talking points, and you over there propagating these Democrat talking points, right? Your mind is already made up by them. You ain't thinking for yourself. Because the system was never intended for the foundational black Americans to think for themselves. That's why we're in the position we're in now. And that's why you have opposition, because you're finally thinking for yourself and you're no longer just giving up your vote, right? Just giving it away. You know, you're now locking the door and making people ring the doorbell. Finally. You no longer, you now can think for yourself. So that's what I'm saying. I've been married to the same black woman because I chose to, because I no longer believed the lie. Based off of what the system was saying, I was supposed to just be a nigga with a bunch of baby moms and be in and out of prison and then come home, finally change my life, but then be taking care of my children from outside the house. No, I disagree. Guess what? My children was raised in the house with their father. I'm not over there with no black conservatives. Nobody was more conservative than our big mamas. I am a conservative, but I don't have to go over there to ingratiate myself with them W folks to say that I'm a conservative. I'm a conservative amongst my people. I strive to do better, be better, and I want us to be better. And I want us to be accountable. I don't want us to be coons, Sambos, Toms, and Mammies. I want us to let go of all that. And you're getting so much pushback because you are thinking for yourself. You are thinking for yourself now. That's problematic to other groups that's benefiting from you in the marketplace because you are not supposed to be woke. You are not supposed to be woke. And that's just the way this thing go, man. So like Phillip Randolph, his position was a restrictionist. Other black people's position wasn't a restriction, wasn't to be a restrictionist. It just wasn't, it didn't operate like that. I want to conserve my race. Right. You can be a black conservatives and don't have to be over there with them radical right people. No, you don't have to be over there with the radical left people. You can be right here in the middle. But I want you guys to understand something. When you take the position of being in the middle, you're going to get attacked by black people on both sides because your opinion does not match theirs. But you have the radical coons and the radical Sambos, and they're coming for you. They're coming for you. So buckle up and be ready. You're going to, that's why you get these people. Before we close out, let's go back one more time. Let me share my screen. Let's go back. Let's go backwards for a minute. Let's revisit what Deante Kyle said. Let's listen to Deante Kyle again.
Gaining such a following because he's abusive in his verbiage, he's abusive in his rhetoric, and he's here to divide. And his psychology is that of a pimp. All of his books prior to his black liberation, black nationalist, black power movement, all his books was about being a player and a pickup artist. Basically, he was trying to teach you how to be a pimp. Well, we know the pimp, the pastor pipeline. A lot of niggas jump out the pimp and go straight into the pastor. That's the best thing smoking. But as things change, as cultures change and evolve, well, he just decided to do it in the Pan-African black space and then dropped the Pan-Africanism. Hidden Colors was all about what was going on in Africa. All this acknowledgement of Africa. a film directed by him, produced by him. Extremely Pan-African film. What is the person who has this gift of gab, the pickup artist, the pimp, who has seen a righteous path but didn't see no money in that? Well, what do you got to do? You got to get back to pimping. But you're going to pimp minds. So what is the advocacy for? What is the abuse that he carries out? Separation versus inclusion. He wants the Black American to separate from global blackness. He wants you isolated here on your own. What do cult leaders do? They separate you. They promise you all these great things. They speak sweet nothings to you. He's going to tell you about every accomplishment that the Black American has made, created, or been involved in. He's going to continue to remind you and pump this false sense of superiority into you. Instead of being inclusionary, understanding that Africans have had a hand in some of the biggest inventions in this world. The mothers of civilization, the creators of arithmetic. But the thing is that's
now, if you listen to him, he has a problem. He has a problem with us teaching our own history. He's saying that we're not inclusionary. He's saying like this. If you take the emotion out and you listen to what he's saying, you listen to what this man is saying. It's real simple. He's on the side of the coon. You see, he got his hair up. He called it the W man, the devil. He do all this kind of stuff, but at the same time, he will go out of his way to attack Black people who want to think for themselves. Now, mind you, he's not holding accountable the other groups. The groups that we call out, he has no accountability or smoke for them at all because his economic purse strings is connected to them, right? He's connected to the status quo being the same, not changing. So the problem for him is going to be us. I dare you to think for yourself. Who the heck do you think you are? I dare you to turn around and teach the FBA Americans the culture that was stolen from them. Who do you think that you are? I dare you to understand that you have a choice and no longer want to unalive each other, right? And want to actually marry your baby mom or actually choose the right man before you. I dare you to start using your brain. I dare who you think you are? I dare you now to start locking the doors and holding yourself accountable so that way you can teach people how to treat you. I dare you do that. So I'm telling you, we already know the radical right and the way the Black conservatives is coming, but we mistook people that look like him. We thought that they was our allies. We thought that they was on our side, and I'm telling you, they're not.
Not good for business. He tried it with Hidden Colors. It didn't hit the same. People were starting to get away from it because it's a hype, it's a feel-good moment, but there's nothing to capitalize on it. So then you get micro movements versus mass communal practices. What does the divider do? What does the abuser do? What does the cult leader do? What does the pickup artist turn African, Pan-African, turn hyper American patriot do? Separate, micro move, internet rhetoric surrounded by hate speech and fear-mongering. Black nationalism has parallels to white nationalism in the rhetoric of separatism and overlaps of the tribes of Judah that exist in supremacist groups as well. Some of the most radical supremacists also talk about the tribe.
So listen to what he just did. He just attributed FBA talking points to hate speech. Everything that he just said right there in that 5 seconds was dog whistling to social media to relegate our talking points to hate speech. What he's doing right now, when you take the emotionalism out, let him say what he's saying. Don't get angry. Don't get upset. Listen with your ears. And when you hear it with your ears, right, comprehend it and then give it back to him. Because what he just did just now was attribute our talking points to hate speech. And he's saying it loud with his chest out for everybody to hear it, right? For everybody to hear it. So now they can start saying, hey, FBA is a hate group. FBA is teaching hate speech. This is why he's attributing it to the German people, W nationalism under the Abrahamic religions of how they use these talking points as hate speech. He just relegated us to that. So if you take the emotions out, you can hear him. He ain't fooling nobody. Now, why would he go and do something like that? Why would another Black man go and do something like that? Because he falls under that coon character. He falls up under that. He doesn't come in the way of the black conservative. He come in the other way. He's coming the other way. What he just did just now was just straight up evil. And he didn't have to do that. He chose to do that. Listen to him.
Black nationalism has parallels to white nationalism in the rhetoric of separatism.
Black nationalism has parallels to white nationalism and parallels to separatism. Now, why would he draw parallels from black nationalism to the W man, knowing that ours was built off of desperation of trying to even be seen as human? It was built off of us trying to liberate ourselves. Why would he go up there and say something like that? Because he's who he is. And that's why I read the Coon character. Because when you hear him talking like this, why would he go and do something like that? Why would he do this?
And overlaps of the tribes of Judah that exist in supremacist groups as well. Some of the most radical supremacists also talk about the tribes of Judah. So they think their superiority is divine as well.
So now he turned us into a religious group that's saying our talking points is divine. So he's saying that we got our talking points from the Most High himself. This is what he's saying. But he's dog whistling to make us a hate group. So now they can wipe us out from being online and speaking the way that we speak because the rhetoric is of hate. It's not of unifying anybody because we go against the agenda that they have in place. That's what he's doing. So no emotions, no cussing, not upset, just analyzing what he's saying and breaking it down. He ain't done though.
So if you got the same talking points as East,
and he looked a little sassy right there and doing what he's doing right there too. I'm looking at his posture and his mannerisms. It's kind of that was real, like he's kind of real. Is that look kind of sassy, right?
the Fed, the FBA, the Foundation of Black Americans, they involved in nothing outside. They ain't doing side. They on the internet looking for niggas that look just like them to degrade and call tethers all day. I don't see these no work against none of these. Nothing. All I see is calling out other black people all day. That's divisive as questioning. Where you from? Where was you born? Nigga gotta show you your freedom papers? Damn, massa. I gotta show you the freedom papers? Who is these niggas on this nag? Steven's over there trying to check a nigga blood. Want to check a nigga papers. Sound like ICE. Another 3-letter organization. Healing and perspective or hate speech and fear mongering. But a lot of us only know how to be in community.
Did you hear him use the term hate speech again? See, whenever you engaging, because they expect us to operate on trauma and to operate being upset. They can say certain things to trigger points to trigger us, right? And once they got us triggered, then they know that we lose track of what the conversation was. But if you stay calm, right? Listen, slavery already happened. Jim Crow already happened. Black codes already happened, right? All these things already happened. Redlining already happened. The heroin holocaust already happened, right? The crack holocaust already happened. There's been so many things. So we don't have to be overly traumatized and frustrated. Calm down and just listen. And when you listen, you can hear everything crystal clear. And he keep using the word hate speech. Who is he whistling this to? Why are you saying this? Then he attribute FBA to ICE.
With abusers. So when they're talking about healing, talking about organization, we start talking about inclusion, we start talking about mass communal practices. You've never seen that. That's not your experience. That's not where you feel comfortable. Claims, checking niggas' verification. What hood is this? What hood is that? Now, if we was gangbanging each other, it would be a problem. But it's not a problem when a nigga asks where you from and it's on the internet and it's on the basis of a culture that we created out of oppression. You don't want to let other niggas participate in your culture because they come over here and degrade him. And you know the business of colonization better.
Now, listen, I want y'all to listen again. Listen, we're going to go through this real slow. So that way y'all can't say that George is just hating on Africans and immigrants. No, I'm not. I'm letting him say it in his own words and we just unpacking what he's saying.
than anybody. These niggas is brainwashed. I'm not going back and forth with no nigga that come here from another country.
I'm not going back and forth with no N-word that come here from another country, right? We're going to do it slow. He's not going back and forth with no N-word that comes here from another country, right?
Search of the American dream when I know nightmare. I'm not going
in search of the American dream when he knows that it's a nightmare, right?
back and forth with no nigga that think he finna get some favor from these white people. I see you niggas that's born in America do this. Michigan head coach. That nigga ain't no tether. Stephen A. Smether. How many niggas have we seen tap dance and degrade black people that are from America, born in America?
And we here in America, we call our Sambos and coons out. We hold them accountable. We call them out. We got to do a better job of recognizing the coon. I would agree with that because you represent one of them. We got to do a better job of recognizing what an actual coon is. But that's why I'm doing this stream. So that way we can pinpoint and understand who they are. But let's proceed.
When niggas do it from abroad, I don't say it's an issue with them. I know that they're brainwashed by the system.
So when they do it abroad, he don't say that it's an issue with them because he know that they're brainwashed by the system. So now he's acknowledging that there's a problem when they come over. This is a full acknowledgement. So we're going to unpack this very slow, right? Watch how he relegate the immigrants to children. Watch this.
Because they went through colonization over there, just like we went through it over here in Africa. Because Europeans are destabilizing their countries, inserting capitalist dictators, fascist dictators, in more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing. Where do they go? To America. And what do they do?
And what do they do? Watch this. He said they're sending them fleeing to America. And what do they do? What do y'all think? What do you think that they do?
They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries because they don't know no better. And
so what he just said was, through American policies and the policies of the West, they go there and they destabilize and put in fake leaders in their countries. So they're well aware of the tyranny and destruction that's going on in their country from the W man. They flee and come here and use those same tactics against us, but then they turn around at the same time and say that they don't know no better. He throws them an olive branch and make excuses for them. George didn't make up nothing. I didn't put no seasoning salt to it. I didn't put no words in his mouth. I didn't do anything. He did that. And this is what I have a problem with. This is my chief issue with these groups that talk this way. Because how could you get up there with your chest out thinking that you're doing a flex and you make the statement that you just made and that's supposed to be okay? How was that okay? How was that ever okay? Look at what he said.
Dictators, fascist dictators in more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing. Where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries because they don't know no better. And it's a bunch of niggas in America that don't know no better.
So we deal with the ones in America that don't know better. But why don't you have a problem? Why do you have a problem with us calling out the ones that's coming from a foreign country that's doing this and you relegate them to not knowing any better? Grown-ups that's doing people wrong. They don't know any better. These are not 10-year-olds that's coming here. These are not children that don't understand the consequences of actions. These are adults that's choosing to come here and do Black people wrong based by what you're admitting. You're admitting this. And we're supposed to know that this is happening and do nothing about it because we're supposed to be inclusive with people that we know are coming here to be against us. That's what he said, Baby Lane. He said this. I didn't say this, Craig Harper. Doug, he said this. I didn't say this. But yet and still, he got a problem. Let's one more time. One more time for the people in the back that's slow.
Europeans are destabilizing their countries, inserting capitalist dictators, fascist dictators in more democratic socialist societies, toppling governments, and then sending the niggas fleeing. Where do they go? To America. And what do? They come through with their religious minds, with their colonized minds, and destabilize Black American revolutionaries because they don't know no better. And it's a bunch of niggas in America that don't know no better. They only are used to being in community with abusers. We have been.
So it's okay. So he got all the smoke and called us abusive and he relegated our talking points to hate speech. But the very thing that he just recognized what they do, we speaking out against, but we're the ones spewing hate speech, and he made an excuse. This is classic Pan-Africanism, sensationalizing Africa and other groups. And the Pan-African, a lot of times, are no different than the Black conservative. The Black conservative will talk about the Black community, destroy the Black community, only talk about the underbelly of the Black community, nothing positive. But the Pan-African will do the same thing. The Pan-African will only talk about the underbelly of the Black community and glorify Africa. And if you have any opinion on Africa, they'll come out against you just like this and make excuses for their bad behavior. But he'll castigate you at any chance he can get. This is what I've experienced in the Pan-African community for years, trying to call it out, and it's only been one-sided. Me saying this does not mean I hate Africans. I don't like this bad leadership. So let's unshare while we unwind. I don't like the bad leadership, and I don't like the fact that in the Black community, the expectations are low, and you got smoke for FBA, but you don't have smoke for all these other failed groups in the Black community. No smoke for them. They just can come and go as they please, right? And they haven't built anything. They're Black Detroit should be controlled by nothing but Black people, right? Chicago, Philadelphia. These groups haven't produced anything, but yet and still you got all this smoke for FBA. That's what I have a problem with. FBA may be successful, it may not be, but you got so much smoke for FBA, but you ain't got smoke for these other groups that's been here for over 100 years, and they have nothing. The Moors have done nothing. So this is where we're supposed to draw the line in the sand, and that's all I'm saying. I'm calling things out and holding things accountable, man, as we should. But you guys, man, my next stream will not come. Hold on, baby Link. Let me give you a wrench real quick. Hold on. Let me give you a wrench. Where you at, baby Link? Right there. And there's a mod. Let me get FBA combo a wrench too. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we gotta hold on a second before us wind down. Yeah, thanks to all who donated today. Thank you so much for all your donations. Go straight to Urban Nerds. Yeah, Big Dog, what's going on, Big Dog? All your donations go straight to the foundation. We have 2 trips coming up in April and in May. We're going to the we're going to the Blacks and Wax Museum, and we're going back. Every year we go to DC to the African American Smithsonian Museum, but we also raise the money to go to Texas, Houston, Texas, to the STEM competitions. We also trying to go to the Martin Luther King Museum down in the South. So we're raising money, man. We in grind mode. We raising money to we just trying to build. So I'm gonna have the flyers up soon. We getting everything together. We just getting the business together first. A lot of times people ask, well, George, why do you do so much of the other content on this channel? You do the gossip stuff. Well, when I was doing on the George Making 1 channel, the George Making 2 channel, when I was teaching just like this, nobody was listening. We wasn't making money. How I was funding my nonprofit, I was making thousands of dollars a month on this channel, producing, talking, going into the gossip. But I was putting the same message in the gossip, but I went from 4,000 subs to 54,000 subs and started making $1,000 a month. And I put all that money back into the foundation to take the kids places because I wasn't trying to teach the people. We wasn't making the money, right? And I go and I shindig with the city people and I do stuff like that, but I didn't want to be solely dependent upon a W man to do things to take care of people in my community. So I went out to the greater audience and just start taking this message out there, right? So when I would go live at times, we would only get 25 to 30 people in the room. Doug know what I'm talking about. Big Dog Philly know what I'm talking about. Now we get 700 people in the room. So now we have access now to do more for Urban Nerds and maybe expand it to Baltimore, DC, maybe expand it to Cleveland, right? We want to get Urban Nerds. The dream is to build it up and expand it countrywide, right? So people, people, they got to support what we're doing and what we're trying to do, all right? So remember, I love my people more than they hate themselves. And I pray to the universal creator most high that these words will to inspire you. These words are enough to make you look at your children, look at yourself in the mirror and make change. These words are enough to make you look at your children and know you have to make change. I hope that when you came here for information. And when you leave here greater than what you was before you came. It's time that we start having the conversations on all the social media mechanisms that we use to get this message across. At the water cooler, on a job with your friends, pillow talking with your wife, walking down the street with the homies, playing cards at the table with the homies. We got to start having real productive conversations and now teaching our babies and our wives, our husbands, our families that you do have a choice. You do not have to be relegated to the choices that they gave you or the lies that they gave you. Because when you respond to something that you are not, you manifest what you are not. And that's what produces in the communities that we come from. So now I no longer believe the lie. I no longer subscribe to the lie. I don't believe that I have to curse anybody, disrespect anybody to get my point across. I can walk in love. I can teach. I love Africans. I love Caribbeans. I love FBA Americans. I love us all. You just got to come here and show respect when you come into our house, and I'll show you the same respect and love, right? I don't have to talk down on nobody to big up FBA culture or FBA community. I don't teach that. I don't live by that, right? So I try my best every day now to that when I encounter you, when I leave you better than what you was before we encountered, right? I want to leave a great impression on my people, and I want you to leave a great impression on me, because we teach people how to treat us by the way we treat each other. So I love you, and I love you even if you don't love me. I still love you. And I aspire to do better, so that way you can see me doing better and it can make you inspire to do better. We only aspire to be real N-words and bad B's because that's what's perpetuated and pumped into our subconscious minds every day. So now when I see how W supremacy is working, I decide to go the other way and tell my brother and my sister that I love them. And I want you to know that you too can have a wife and a children and be productive. You don't have to be a single mom or raised in broken homes the way we did. You can reverse that. I wanted my children, especially my son, my youngest child, to have what I didn't have, a mother and father in the house. So I made the choice to make sure that happened, to pick the right woman. And I made sure to have my head screwed on tight to manifest that which I desired. And I desired to have a family, that which I didn't have. So 25 years later, I have a family, 4 children, 6 grandchildren, right? And this is what came out of it. You have a choice. You too have a choice. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.